Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are doing an impromptu live IDP hour. My co-host Jordan Rains. I am Jarod Gray. What's up, dog?
Not much, man. Happy to be here recording a little content for the folks out there that need some IDP content. To, get them through the week till Thursday, tomorrow, and then Sunday.
I expect you guys will probably try to ask us some questions here and there. So, I mean, I get that. We're not going to get crazy on the questions, but we are going to goof around and give you some stuff.
We'll see what we could do. Before we get started, we all obviously want to say, we're proudly part of the Full-Time Fantasy Podcast Network. We got some good shows on the network. Some of our compadres putting out quality content as well. We obviously set the industry standard for IDP content, so that's a no-brainer there. But happy to be here again. Like I said, we're going to go through some matchups, kind of like we did last week. We're kind of moving away from doing the IDP rankings because when that drops on my Twitter feed, you can see that. You cannot see it. That's at your own discretion. Hit me up on Twitter if you have questions about that. Might bring it up a little here and there. I did put out my defensive lineman rankings / edge rusher rankings today. Linebackers, defensive backs, top 24 will go out tomorrow. So, yeah, we got some good matchups this week. Got a lot of bye weeks this week. We got Atlanta on a bye, Cincinnati on a bye, Rams on a bye, New Orleans on a bye. A lot of heavy hitters for your IDP teams are out this week. So, this is definitely going to be a show you're going to want to listen to because we're going to highlight the guys in these matchups that you're going to want to play, maybe not want to play, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, without further ado, I guess we should go ahead and hit up this Thursday night game, see what's up.
Yeah, what's up? So, obviously, first game, San Francisco and the Cardinals. Dude, San Francisco's defense has been elite. They haven't had a player really stand out except for Nick Bosa.
Dude, yeah, but they have so many guys that, starting front to back. I mean, that defensive line, you got DeForest Buckner, Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead is having a great season quietly. Even D Ford playing his 4 or 5 snaps a game is still, putting up some meaningful PFF grades, and he has a few meaningful stats for IDP here and there. So,
yeah, he's definitely doing some work. On the other side, man, guys are getting work. Hicks is doing well. Budda Baker's had a good season. Hassan Reddick is questionable for the game, so that's a big deal.
Yeah, keep an eye on that one. I did see something about Jordan Hicks today. Adam Coe, is that his name?
Yeah.
He tweeted something about how Hicks has been so bad in coverage for tight ends. And I tweeted him back. I was like, yo, but that's so good for IDP, man. Like, let him catch the ball. And then
for IDP purposes.
Yeah. Catch it and tackle him.
Getting those it's a solo. I mean, it's
keep that drive alive, baby.
It's anywhere from a 3 to 5 point, depending on your group. So, yeah, I like it. Overall, it's a pretty good grab.
Yeah, there's some good players, too. Chandler Jones, the San Francisco 49ers have a good offensive line, so I'm tempering my expectations with him, but I was just looking at some of my leagues today, and I'm having
Chandler Jones is questionable, too.
Is he?
He is.
Dang. Oh, dang. All right, I got to keep
an eye on that. And Chandler Jones are both questionable. No, it's just small stuff here and there, but I mean, it's still something to keep an eye on.
Yeah,
for sure.
Something to note, especially for a Thursday night game. You don't want to get stuck with a 0 in your start the week out like that. They'll tank your whole thing. Anybody else on that matchup that's really exciting for you? I mean, you're obviously starting all these guys that we just mentioned. The only guy on either side of the ball that I'm probably not going to start. I'm really kind of fading Fred Warner. I had big hopes for him coming into the season, but he's really just kind of – I mean, he's not doing even what he did last year, which he had a really good season last year. He's not performing to what I expected, which was at least what he did last year and maybe a little more. So I've actually been kind of benching him.
Quan is playing okay, I guess.
Yeah, Quan's been doing good. So you're starting Quan Alexander. You're starting, Nick Bosa, obviously. Eric Armstead's another guy that I just picked up on 2 or 3 waivers over last night. I mean, these guys are still out there and they're high-level performers. They just might not be a big name like an Aaron Donald, So go out there, go hunting, find them. And start him with confidence. Budda Baker, I did see also he's back to playing strong safety right now. So that's probably why he had this better game.
And he's healthy. I know he was a little nagging some injuries, and he even said that. So him being healthy is a big deal for anybody. Budda Baker is a must start everywhere. I mean, when the guy's on, he's a must start for sure.
Yeah, he's a playmaker.
In the next game, which is the first game Saturday morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 6:30, maybe my time, I guess, on Sunday. Jaguars, Texans, with J.J. Watt getting injured, Merciless has to be the guy that I'm looking at on the Texans side to do something. Justin Reed on the back end, he needs to start stepping up and playing better.
Agreed.
He's up and down. When he has good games, he has great games. I mean, it's no wishy-washy about him.
But he's had some down weeks lately, and anything in fantasy football is it's lately. What'd you do last week?
Yep. Jaguar sides, like you and me talked about, Yannick and Josh Allen are two guys. Calais Campbell's got an injury to his back, so he's questionable, and I would even say he might be doubtful. So watch out for that.
Yeah,
my start of the week for that one is Josh Allen. So
yeah, Josh Allen. I tweeted something out earlier today. His snap count's been down a little bit, but his production is fine. I mean, him and Yannick have both been playing lights out the past 2-3 weeks. Josh Allen for the whole season, and they're both big play guys. They're not just tackle and a sack occasionally. I mean, these guys are getting forced fumbles, fumble recoveries. I mean, Yannick has a touchdown. I mean, these guys, when they make a play, they're making big plays. That's what I like personally. That's when I play fantasy football. I'm looking for that rush. I'm looking for that 75-yard Tyreek Hill touchdown. I'm looking for that TJ Watt strip sack fumble recovery. I'm looking for that. I'm slightly excited for a tackle, like if I just need points. But what I'm looking for is that big play. So, Josh Allen and Yannick offer that big time. Calais Campbell, hopefully he's okay. When you got three monsters like that on your defensive line, I mean, Deshaun Watson's going to be in trouble this week.
He's going to be in trouble because they have some offensive line injuries. I don't expect the running back to play very well. Myles Jack, I don't trust him at all, but
dude's garbage, man.
Jarod Wilson is injured on the backside, so I expect them to toss the ball a lot against, which just makes me want Josh Allen and Yannick that much more. So
Ronnie Harrison, another guy that you're definitely going to want to, obviously try and work into your lineup. He's been having a great season. He offers big play upside. I think he's got 2 sacks on the year. He's got 1 or 2 interceptions on top of the fact that he's probably their best tackler. I mean, that's all shade to Myles Jack right there. I won't even lie. So,
yep, I'm with you. Lunch Table Legend, thanks for commenting. Keep it up, boys. The only good IDP content is on YouTube. I appreciate you. I'm with you. We both agree. Love Yannick this week. We do love Yannick this week, especially Calais Campbell possibly being out. So
Texan side, obviously Zach Cunningham is an every week start, solid start. Benardrick McKinney. If you're not getting docked for assisted tackles, he's a great play. If you're getting a little bit less for an assisted tackle, Benardrick McKinney leaves not like a bad taste.
I've got in a league where he's still a point, but it's 3 points for a solo. So
see, I'm in the league where my leagues are all you get for assist or a solo, it's the same. But he's half of his. I mean, he has like a total of almost 60 sacks on this or tackles on the season, but like half of them are assisted. So if you're in a league where that's a factor, you might want to look away from him. But if you're not, he's one of the tackle leaders overall. So
might give a little confidence booster starting him in that league. They're still going to run the ball a lot, so Fournette's going to get tons of carries. Stash and Gardner Minshew is going to be throwing the ball a little bit. Westbrook hurt his neck, so I don't know what his status is. DJ Chark got injured as well. He injured his shoulder. Don't know how much he's going to play. So this could be one of those great IDP games.
Where there's just all kinds of mayhem and nonsense happening.
Yeah, it could be a lot of fun, or it could be just a lot.
And it's early, so love it about it.
Yep, it's starting to going to get you hot for the weekend. The next game we got on Sunday, Bears Eagles. Eagles have a great run defense. They have the worst pass defense, which. Who knows what they're going to do with Mitchell Trubisky because he's trash. But
they're gonna look good this week. I saw that Avonte Maddox. We don't talk cornerbacks a lot, but Avonte Maddox has been a good IDP cornerback when he was playing earlier in the season. He's back at practice today. I saw. So
they got both their corners back healthy, which is big for them. So
they don't really have any safeties there that I'm interested in. I mean, Malcolm Jenkins. If you need somebody to play. I mean, you can play him. I'm not
just
excited.
crazy. Malcolm Jenkins was a boss 2 years ago, and
He was a boss
now
last year too.
I don't know what's going on with him right now. So
yeah.
On the Bears side, man, they're loaded, dude. Danny Trevathan is a beast. I'd rather play him than Roquan personally, and I've been preaching it since the beginning of the season.
Yeah, 100%.
DT has been the most consistent. Roquan is the most athletic, but when it comes to tackling, he ain't been tackling very well. So, and he hasn't been on the field a whole lot.
And he's had like 0 big plays. And on a team where there's a lot of big playmakers, I mean, like you said, Danny Trevathan. You've got there's safety Eddie Jackson, Clinton Dix. You got Khalil Mack. I mean, brought him up. Kendall Fuller. You know, even
whichever one.
One of the Fuller guys. There are guys there that make plays. It's a disruptive defense, and if you're on that team halfway through the season and you haven't had a big play, that to me is worrisome. I actually just traded him. If you watched our live cast at all on Sundays, I had a big talk 2 weeks ago. Sunday morning, I made a last-second trade before the day started. And I got rid of Roquan Smith, and it was kind of hard to do then, but now I'm so happy I did.
I mean, we talked about it. Obviously, like I've been the DT fan, and I just don't think he's been the guy to go for. So
yeah. And Roquan Smith, I mean, he has the draft capital, he's got the name, he's got the hype. But at the end of the day, he doesn't have the IDP production that I'm looking for. So, but still in that same aspect, while we're talking about me, I'm not saying sit him, but you're not looking at an elite linebacker 1 like you probably drafted him. I mean, he was going in the top 10 linebacker.
Got 9 points last week in one of my leagues, which I think he had like 2 tackles. So,
he's only had 1 pass defended too. I mean, it's just like, what are you doing out there, dude?
Yeah, it's interesting. On the other side, so the next game, we've got Chiefs-Vikings, which this one could be a fun one. The Chiefs aren't straight up very good defensively right now. They're rattled with injuries. I mean,
Frank Clark is hurt. Chris Jones is hurt.
Defensively,
Apparently, Chris Jones is going to play, though.
Yeah, it looks like Chris Jones is going to play. He is injured. Their Fuller is hurt. Kendall or Kyle, whichever one. I always get mixed up.
Keep in mind,
he's injured. Breland's hurt. He hurt his shoulder last week.
Mm-hmm.
Charvarius Ward continues to be a solid start for the Chiefs. So if you got him, start him because they're targeting him, and you expect the Vikings to either run up the middle all day because they don't trust the Chiefs' run defense. But the run defense was great last week. So in covering for Pat Mahomes. If Pat Mahomes is back, this could be one of those shootout games, which could be a whole lot of fun to watch offensively, which means a lot of back-end tackles.
Yeah.
I think Tyrann Mathieu actually has a good game this week.
He's been a solid DB2 all season. The thing I like about him is he does offer some big play upside.
He dropped 2 interceptions last week.
Mm-hmm.
2 pass deflections. It should have been 2 interceptions.
And you give him those 2 interceptions, and he's a must start this week, playing Kirk Cousins. So, take that as you will. Vikings have so many good guys to play for IDP, like many elite level dudes. It's kind of unreal. I mean, we'll go front to back. I mean, it's Everson Griffin up front, Danielle Hunter up front, bosses. I mean, especially thinking that they're playing the Chiefs with banged up offensive line and a quarterback who wasn't a quarterback 6 months ago.
I actually really like Griffin this week with Fisher out. So
he made my top 10 on the rankings. I dropped those, like I said earlier today. He was top 10, and even when I was putting it out there, I was like, dang, I have Griffin high. Now
that's tough for you. You're playing your team, so.
I was like, okay, I see. Yeah, it was tough, but I know what the Chiefs are, and I know what Griffin is, so I know it's going to be some trouble. Then you got Eric Kendricks, who's going to be my star of the week later. I'll talk about him more, but dude's having an insane season. Like, I don't think people realize how good of a, not just IDP, but just like as a player, like he's having an incredible season right now for a linebacker.
I told you to be quiet on him on Twitter because I was
I know. I just kind of blew my mind when I saw what he was doing. I was like, oh my gosh.
Those pass deflections are crazy, bro.
Oh,
if you're in a high pass deflection league, Eric Kendricks is your dude.
He's putting up cornerback 1 numbers as far as, his coverage ability. It's insanity. But we won't linger there too much. We'll come back around to him. And then another one of my favorite dudes in the whole league, Harrison Smith. Dude's an absolute stud. Just love the way he plays. He's a big play kind of guy like a Tyrann Mathieu, but he's also a solid tackler.
He reminds me so much of John Lynch when he played back in the day.
Oh, yeah. He's a beast. He's a heavy hitter. He's quick. He's rangy. And then Anthony Harris, he's their other safety. He's kind of more big play dependent, but he has 3 or 4 interceptions on the year. So, I mean, the big plays do fall his way a good
He's
bit.
got a few fumble recoveries too.
So. And again, on a defense that's that disruptive, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for guys to help each other out. You might get the forced fumble. Maybe he doesn't get the fumble recovery, but someone around him is going to get it. So you're looking for guys on teams where there are playmakers next to him, in front of him, behind him. That's what I like. So great IDP matchup. Not much talk about for the linebackers for the Chiefs. I mean,
I don't trust any of the linebackers from the Chiefs.
Yeah, we don't even need to talk about that. So,
next one, Colts Steelers. This could be a fun one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, going to be a good matchup, interesting matchup. Offensive line of the Colts versus that entire defense for the Steelers. Their defensive line is tearing it up. Even without Tuitt, they're still crushing dudes. Cam Hayward had a big game last week. TJ Watt, go without saying, he's an elite pass rusher in the NFL. That's if you can't.
Is he taking over as the best Watt?
What?
Is he taking over as the best Watt?
Well, he's the only one left standing that plays defense right now. But I mean, it's his time. I mean, it really is his time. If you watch that game, it's like you could tell watching. I had him on a team, and he had like 1 point going into the fourth quarter for me, 1 or 2, almost nothing. But you could just tell he was heating up. Every play, he was getting a little.
He had so many just missed tackles,
and he was working the offensive lineman, and then finally he broke through, and it was all hell broke loose. 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries like that. And I went from having a guy who had 1 point or 2 points on my team to, in some leagues, he put up damn near 50.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just like you got to trust the process. And when you watch him, he almost never comes off the field. He plays with the tenacity that's, not everybody plays with. I mean, let's just be honest. And he comes from a family of guys that, obviously he's grown up rough and tumble his whole life, and it shows in the way he plays. Bud Dupree also had a pretty good game. So the Colts offensive line's gonna
let's not forget Devin Bush here.
Yeah, don't forget Devin Bush. Devin
Bush is I know in one league that I'm playing in, a guy needs Devin Bush to have 2 solo tackles to win it, and he gets 3 in 3 plays to win the game on the final drive.
On that final drive, Devin Bush was like literally involved in every defensive play. I have him on the same team I had TJ Watt on, and I was like, man, these guys haven't done much. And then all of a sudden I was like,
and then you went from boom to, nothing to boom. It was pretty awesome.
So you're obviously starting, those guys, maybe you look somewhere else for Bud Dupree if you have to, but I still am comfortable starting him. Especially if you have an edge rusher designation in your league for him. Minkah Fitzpatrick, he's not an amazing tackler, but he makes he's kind of like Devin Bush. He's always going to he's like big plays just fall his way.
He's averaging a pick a game right now.
Yeah, it's insane.
That's crazy.
It's insane. He was traded for pennies. Like, oh, you're not that good. Dude's good.
They gave him a first rounder for him, but
you couldn't get Jamal Adams for a first rounder this last week or yesterday for the trade deadline. Minkah's just as good as Jamal Adams. I don't want to hate on Jamal Adams. I love Jamal Adams, but Minkah does work.
Minkah's young.
He doesn't have a big personality on Twitter, but
which I kind of like, and I just love that he's just a baller. He's the old school, get after it safety. You know what I mean? Yep. So like Art Monk. You know what I mean? That's just, I love his play. I really do. Even though he's from Alabama,
And then Terrell Edmonds is having a pretty good season. He's cooled off a little bit, but again, he's a guy that I'm starting everywhere I have him. So
he's been good for tackles. It's just what it is. The other side, the 2 dumpster fires, and Adam Gase gets to play against the Dolphins.
Oh, let's talk about the Colts real quick.
Let's get to the Colts real quick.
Yeah,
obviously, Darius Leonard, since he's come back. I think he's in one of my league. He's averaging like 30 points, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, he had 10 tackles this last week or so, and a sack. So he was instantly right back to his old self. So
yep, he's big. Who we got on the backside? Clayton Gathers has got to be a guy that has been playing pretty consistently. Not phenomenal numbers, but teams haven't really been trying to toss it against the Colts either.
Yeah, so they're not getting quite as much work. Him and Hooker, I think, is back from his knee procedure this week, or he was last week. So, but again, like you said, they're not really getting tossed on, so they're not producing super high level, but they're still guys you can play as a DB.
Houston's got to be a must start this week against Steelers who like to run the ball, but the Steelers are banged up. They might not even have Connor or Snell this week. Snell's out with a knee injury. Connor hurt his shoulder, AC joint shoulder injury. So they've got Samuel
pass protection questions. Yeah, I think Justin Houston, he's a great start. Steelers' offensive line is good, but I mean Justin Houston is an elite pass rusher in this league. If you don't know that or believe that, I don't know what to tell you, honestly. I mean, just go look at his career, and he's only 30. I mean, look at Calais Campbell. He's 33, 34. Terrell Suggs, 36. I mean, it's not like he doesn't have anything left in the tank. I mean, he's having a good season. So,
yeah, he's gonna finish, having a good season. But those are my three guys. Walker's gonna be pretty well against Steelers with as much as they're gonna run the ball. So, but I think they might try to spread around a little bit against the Colts just because they're so banged up, on the running back position. So we'll see what happens. Other games, Jets, Dolphins. To be honest with you,
there's not much to talk about here. There's nothing to talk about on the Dolphins side. I mean, you can start
Baker on one side.
You can start Jerome Baker.
Xavier Howard is out for the season, by the way.
Yep, Xavier Howard's out for the season. I'm not starting anybody else on the Dolphins, and I'm not even starting Baker where I have him. I have him, but I'm not starting him. If you're in a pinch with bye weeks, you can start him, but he's a DB.
Jets offensively are going to have a good game. I mean,
yeah, I got Robbie Anderson fired up.
So Robbie Anderson, Le'Veon Bell, even Sam Darnold's been trashed last 2 weeks. I think he's at 8 interceptions last 2 weeks. So
he's had some tough matchups, though.
But wow.
The Jets defensively, I mean, Neville Hewitt, questionable. He was out last week. He should be back this week. Not 100% sure on that. He's a good start, honestly, even against a crappy offense like the Dolphins. But as far as anyone else besides Jamal Adams,
Blake Cashman?
I mean, you can play him, but I'm not excited to play him.
He's kind of in the same way where Bush, they're going to stay away from him. The Dolphins, if they're going to try to get the ball out, it's going to be the sidelines. So I don't expect Blake Cashman to have a big game.
Agreed. So, let's not linger on that too much.
That's an easy one. We get to move on from it. Redskins, Bills. It's the last 2 morning games, Redskins and Bills. To be honest with you, this could be one of those weird games. If I'm a Bills fan, I'm loving this because I just heard Haskins is probably going to get the start, which I think he's the better option against the Bills.
Haskins is better than Keenum? You crazy.
What has Keenum done except for turn the ball over? He had 7 turnovers against the Bills or against the
I
Bears?
don't know. What's the Bears? Come on.
Bro, it's 7 okay, what's the Bears record?
I just love Case Keenum. I don't know what it is. I just love the way his attitude.
Last time I loved Case Keenum?
When
he was at Houston.
A long time ago.
In college, Houston.
A long time ago.
Yeah, bro. He's not that good.
I just feel like he's the only time he got a fair freaking shake was with the Vikings. And guess what he did? He was fucking awesome there. He was on Houston. Houston was dog crap when he was there. He was on the Rams. The Rams had Jeff Fisher, who literally ruins everything he touches. And then he went to the Broncos last year. Garbage. He's on the Redskins. Garbage. I mean, you put anybody on these teams, I mean, it's going to be tough.
What you're basically saying is he has to have great players around him. Like
he needs to have a good coach, a good organization, and good players. Yeah, but that's what most people need to succeed.
Tom Brady? You can't tell me Tom Brady has elite receivers over his career.
No, he's got an elite coach. He's an elite player himself. I'm not saying Case Keenum's an elite player. I'm just saying if you put a guy in a certain ecosystem with Case Keenum's ability, he will succeed. Case Keenum's only been put in an ecosystem like that one time. Okay. And what did he do? He succeeded.
You think he'd be better at the Cowboys than Dak?
I don't know about better, but he could win as many games. I think that for sure.
Well, then that means I'm not paying Dak $40 million. So,
well, okay. Well, let's get off this quarterback controversy situation. Redskins.
Right to you, Russell. Russell's comment, and I'll get right to him. Just told him. So back to the Redskins. Dude, Matt Ioannidis has got to be a must start, right? Every week.
Ioannidis is a must start every week. Jonathan Allen is pushing his way into that conversation. He was injured earlier in the season, but he seems to be fine. So I actually just picked him up in 2 leagues this morning, one on my way to work and another one I drafted him in a draft that I'm in with you right now. We're doing a mid-season draft right now with a few guys from the Twitter sphere and some websites and stuff, kind of experimenting with some IDP scoring changes, a little theory that I'm working on. So I drafted Jonathan Allen. There'll be some content. I'll put some stuff out about that league in the future, but we're doing a mid-season draft. It's actually really fun to do this draft because things are a lot different than they were 8 weeks ago when we drafted. That's for damn sure.
That's for dang sure.
So it's been really fun to be in on that. Shout out to Dennis Bennett, culture coach. He's in there with us. Shout out to Joey. There's a couple other guys in there. Orange Man's in there with us.
Dan.
Steve's in there. Dan's in there, or not Dan. Anyway, it's gonna be fun. We'll put out some content on that. I'll probably post that actual draft when it's done. Superflex IDP. Hoping to have it done maybe tonight. So. Anyway, that was a little sidebar, but like I said, I picked him in that league, and I think Jonathan Allen second half of the season is going to have a really, really good situation going for him.
Agreed. Get right back to that. How do you feel about Peppers or not Peppers?
Collins
this week.
Oh, always Collins, dudes. He's one of the top defensive backs. He's an elite player. He's an elite IDP player. He's playing the Bills, who people don't want to say it, but Bills are pretty good.
Dude, Matt Milano was a must-start this week, speaking of the Bills.
But the Bills should keep the drives alive, so I think there's a lot of tackling opportunities in. I mean, I love Josh Allen, but, I mean, he could throw, an interception, or he could get sacked and fumbled. I mean, these things can happen. So I think that Landon Collins is obviously a must-start and an elite option.
Is Cole Holcomb a must-start?
Not a must-start, but you could start him. Same thing with Sean Dion Hamilton. Not a must-start, but you can start him.
So my 3 guys here, I think you agree with me: Jonathan Allen, Matt Ioannidis, and Landon Collins, and maybe Cole Holcomb.
I like Deron Payne too. If you're in a DT-specific situation, he hasn't had a lot of sacks this year, but he's been a pretty good tackler. So can't ask.
It'll be interesting what the Bills do with the running game. I mean, Redskins are a little tougher against the run. On the Bills side, Jordan Poyer has been pretty consistent the last couple of weeks. He's playing how I expect him to play. Matt Milano is a must start. Tremaine Edmonds he's just not what I thought he was going to be this year. I thought
kind of like Roquan Smith. It's like we had high hopes for these dudes after what they did, as rookies. And they're basically doing what they did as rookies, but just a little less, like 95%. That's not what I wanted.
I agree. I'm with you 100% on that.
And I paid up to get these guys in drafts too. I mean, You're talking about, Tremaine Edmonds and Roquan Smith. These are guys that were basically going as soon as your Blake Martinez's, your Bobby Wagner's, and your Darius Leonard's, and your Luke Kuechly's were gone. Like, these were the next guys.
See, and that's where I held off on Danny Trevathan and Matt Milano.
There's something to be said for waiting on linebacker if you don't get a sure thing. I'm sure we can discuss that ad nauseum in the offseason.
Yep. The last morning game, Panthers, Titans, and my man Russ is here talking a little bit. Rich is jumping in there. You guys are jumping. What do you guys think this is? Sunday? We just go live one day and you guys just go bonkers. Okay, real quick.
Yeah, we got a podcast to record, fellas. Come on.
Bruce Irvin and one hit wonder, or is there something there?
That's tough because Brian Burns, he only played like 20 or 30% of snaps. He had like a thumb surgery or something, or a wrist surgery 2 weeks ago. So I don't trust it. I mean, he had a big game, but I think I think he was only playing snaps because Brian Burns was not playing snaps. So I'm not trading for him. I'm not picking him up. I'm not playing him.
I don't know. I like Bruce Irvin. I think I'm with Russell on this one. Is a little, should I wait on him? You know what I mean? Or should I? I'll put it this way, though. If you're in a spot where you got some guys that are on bye weeks, yeah, play him.
True.
I mean, I like the matchup overall. It's a decent matchup for them this week. It's going to be a fun game. It's the last morning game that we're talking about against the Titans, who like to run the ball. And if Tannehill can drop back a little bit. Dude, I don't trust the Titans line to save my life. So
No, they've allowed them. They're one of the most sacked teams in the league.
yeah,
They have one of the worst
this
protection
week,
line, so.
Bruce Irvin's a must start.
All right.
Let's play with it. I mean, why not? Luke Kuechly, Shaq Thompson both had a bad week last week against San Francisco, who was killing it.
Yeah, it's hard to have a good game against San Francisco for anybody at this point. I mean,
well, especially how well they're playing. I mean, they're just playing good defensively. They're getting you off on your heels.
they're
So
controlling the ball. I mean, they seem to have time possession locked down, which you would think would be good for IDP, but
yep. I mean, Luke Kuechly had a great first series, had an interception, had a tackle, solo tackle. He had a great first series. Started off 10 points for most people in the league, 15 points in some leagues on the first series of the game. So you really enjoyed that. I mean, he still had like a 30-point game, but he did have a monster game, him or Shaq Thompson last week. I like one of their corners is pretty solid.
Bradbury.
Yep. But the two guys or three guys that I would have to say this week, and it will depend on the status of Brian Burns. If Brian Burns is expected to play a whole lot, Bruce Irvin drops. If he doesn't, Bruce Irvin shoots up, and it's Shaq Thompson, Luke Kuechly, and Bruce Irvin. So
I agree. I would throw Eric Reed in there too. He's been having a good.
So Eric Reed is injured though; he's questionable.
Is he?
Yes. So
Interesting.
Be careful with that one. I checked just before we got online, so watch Eric Reed. He's going to be a game time decision, probably, guys. He was out of practice again today, so
yeah, definitely.
It's a knee injury, so that's one of those things that you have to keep an eye on.
I've been playing Trey Boston as well in some deeper leagues.
Oh, I like Trey Boston. Yeah,
he's been all right. I mean, if you're not playing him, expect him to be.
I don't love this matchup for Trey Boston because I don't expect Tannehill to just go deep to Corey Davis a lot. But I mean, Corey Davis. It could be an interesting one. Trey Boston could be a guy to look at. Titan side, Harold Landry is balling. I mean, he's just playing really well. Rashawn Evans is playing well. Jan Brown had a decent game last week.
Mm-hmm. All three must starts right there.
Agreed. A guy that if you're in a defensive tackle spot, I'm gonna bring up Jeffries again.
You love this guy.
I do, man. He's just a big dude. You know, he reminds me of Curse a lot. He's a big dude. Dude's got arms the size of people's heads. His opening week, he had 4 solo tackles, a sack, a forced fumble. Last week, he had 3 solo tackles. I mean, he's got to be a guy you look at. I mean, he's only got 2 weeks, and he's playing with you. You know, and I don't trust the Panthers line, obviously. I mean, I trust Chris McCaffrey, but I don't trust their line a whole lot. This is going to be a fun one. I think the Panthers are probably going to pull this one out because it's at home. So, but watch out. I think it could be a tight one.
Yeah, the Titans have had some surprising games. I'll definitely give you that. So,
all right, let's get on to a game that I'm actually really interested with. Lions Raiders. Tracy Walker got hurt.
He's questionable.
But it was a late knee injury. He's day to day. He hasn't practiced yet. He hasn't even got out on the field. So for me, my start of the week is Taven Wilson. I really like that guy in general. I think he's going to give you 12 points in general. This is a matchup where the Raiders like to throw to the tight end.
Love it.
Ty Williams is back. Love Taven Wilson in this week.
Nice.
It's a good matchup for Wilson. I expect Tracy Walker to be out, so he's a guy that I'm starting in one of my leagues. As soon as I saw Tracy Walker got injured, I went to see if he was available. He was. I picked him up. Good to go.
What about these defensive linemen they got there? What about
Trey Flowers?
Trey Flowers, that's what I was gonna say. He's had not a great tackling season, like he's just kind of but he seems to always have like a big play going around. You know, I mean, he's got a couple of forced fumbles, strip sack, and he just seems to get that done almost every week.
Well, he's healthy, and I heard that he had a nagging quad injury. So to know that he's healthy and see what he did before he went to Detroit, now he's at Detroit healthy. When he's played well, he's played great.
He got 4 forced fumbles on the season.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
He's a guy that I'm starting this week. I like the matchup. The Raiders are going to throw the ball. Josh Jacobs has been a little banged up. Either way, I expect Trey Flowers to get some tackles and maybe a sack. So maybe even a forced fumble because don't trust David Carr.
What about these linebackers? Jarod Davis is not. I mean, he's just been kind of this season. I know this Devin Kennard though. We talked about him on Monday's show, our other show, the IDP 411, because I picked him up and told you I was ready to play him, had him in, and I dropped him 10 minutes before lineups had to be set. And in the first 10 minutes, he has a touchdown. I was so mad, but he's been doing really good this season. I don't know why I dropped him. It was just kind of like a.
It's funny because I picked him up in one of our leagues.
I remember why I had to pick up a corner, and I didn't want to drop any of my other linebackers. So I was like, I'll just do this. Huge mistake. Huge, massive.
Shane, appreciate the love, IDP goats. That's what we're trying to be. That's what we're trying to be. So I appreciate you. Man, I don't know. I like the match. This is gonna be a fun one to me. I mean, I like the Raiders. Tahir Whitehead is a good matchup. If you have somebody on the backside, Detroit is going to throw the crap out of the ball. Stafford is throwing almost for 3,000 yards. So, I mean, he's on pace for almost 6,000 yards this year. So
Stafford balling out.
So if you have a backside guy on, maybe who's there? Is it Joyner?
There's Joyner, but there's also this dude Harris. I believe his name is Eric Harris. He's been having a pretty low-key good season. He's definitely good for a spot start if you need somebody for a defensive back, like if you did lose Tracy Walker. He's got 28 solo tackles, 2 assists, 1 interception, and he had a touchdown. So, I mean, he's got a little big play upside. So he plays strong safety too. So, I mean, that's what you're looking for.
Rich, we'll get to Coleman a little bit. I think we all agree Coleman's a good start, always.
Yeah.
Huge fan of him. Go back to him. I like anybody. If you guys got a corner league, this is a good time to grab a Raiders cornerback. If you got a safety on the Raiders, it's a good week to play them just because of the matchup. I mean, it's just how it is here. And if you ask Jordan, he's not a big matchup guy. This is a week. It doesn't matter. You're playing a matchup because Stafford's going to throw the crap out of the ball. Yep. I like outside linebackers against Danny Amendola, who's had 8 catches the last 2 weeks. So,
there'll be plenty of tackling opportunities for the Raiders.
That dude's got 20 looks. Danny Amendola has. So, an outside linebacker covering him.
We got to talk about Brandon Marshall real quick too. The Raiders did re-sign Brandon Marshall, who was there last year, and then they released him in the offseason when they got Burfset and some other guys. But he's back. I'm not playing him this week, but it's definitely something to monitor, watch.
Definitely a guy to look at, because his main reason we watched the show, it was about him getting healthy, and he is healthy, it sounds like. So it was a good pullback, and they need some leadership.
Yeah, so, he's a leader. He's a vet. He's played in that division, so he kind of knows what they're about. And he's probably on your waivers right now. I'm looking literally on my phone right now in this 16-team league that I'm in. That's all IDP. It's a massive league, and he's sitting there. I'm looking right at him. So I might be picking him up so check your waiver wires. I mean, anytime you can get starting inside linebacker, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer if you need one. I mean, obviously you're wanting an elite guy, but if you have a little depth, just snag one, play him in the bye weeks, trade him if you have to, if he gets a big game, I mean, like you're playing a commodities game as well as, just fantasy football. So.
Okay, let's get to this next game. This is going to be a shootout. Yeah. Buccaneers, Seahawks.
There's a lot of IDP action.
The Buccaneers are good against the run, 32nd against the pass. The Seahawks are good against the run, like 28th against the pass. This is if you've got a running back, not really loving the play. Actually, the Buccaneers are kind of middle of the road when it comes to stopping the run because of injuries. But let's be real here. You expect Wilson to have a big game at quarterback. I expect Winston to have a big game.
Both are going to have a ball out this week.
Let's go with the Seahawks side on a guy I've been super high on. I get that they traded for Quandre Diggs, but Marquise Blair is balling out the last 2 weeks. He got 20 tackles the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
How's he not a must start against the Buccaneers who
throw the ball
all day?
So probably throw interceptions a lot.
I'm telling you guys, Marquise Blair, he might even be a better start than Taven Wilson, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's my star of the week. I'm going to tell you that. Yours is Taven Wilson. Mine is. We're going to do this at the end, but Marquise Blair for me is star of the week. Dude's been balling out, like you said. They need him to ball out. They drafted him to ball out. Wasn't he their first pick? Was it him or was it? So he was their first pick this last year, and we all know they traded back to, whatever that whole ordeal was. But they got their guy, they claim, and he's their guy. So he's been playing. They needed him to play. He stepped up. I don't think he's going to lose this job. I think he's going to be a commodity, an asset for IDP.
I agree. With Donald McDonald or whatever his name is hurt.
McDougald.
McDougald. He stepped in and has played really well. They brought in Quandre Diggs. Honestly, they did it because they had injuries. But you're not pulling Marquise Blair out at this point. He's balling. So
that would be short-sighted. But I wouldn't put it past Pete Carroll to do something that's short-sighted. But
I'll be honest with you. I expect Quandre Diggs to play like nickel.
Yeah,
he can cover almost any tight end that they're going to face. So he's not, he's going to have to face. That's the one guy you're probably going to want to cover Kittle when they have a chance. Why not put Quandre Diggs on? But if Marquise Blair is on him, I'm telling you, I'm going to start that matchup too. So. Because he shut down Mark Andrews when he played him. So Marquise Blair, Quandre Diggs, either one of them, when they play, depending on their matchup, are going to play well. Marquise Blair's the guy for me.
Bobby Wagner, obviously a must start. You can start KJ Wright as well. He's had a really good season quietly. Michael Kendricks is more of like a linebacker 3-4, but I still think he doesn't play a high number of snaps, but he plays enough to where he's going to get some production. The defensive line, I'm a big Jadeveon Clowney hater. Like for IDP, I'll just say
this could be a good matchup for him.
You're right. This could be a good matchup for him, and he's kind of been, I don't want to say proving me wrong, but he's been getting it done. That's the best way to say it. He doesn't have a lot of snaps. He doesn't have a lot of tackles, but he just seems to always have like an interception.
And I have the Seahawks, knowing you're playing the Buccaneers, Jadeveon Clowney's going to get 80 to 90% of snaps this week. I'm going to make him tired because I need him pass rushing Winston every down. If I'm the coach personally.
Yeah.
So on the other side.
Yeah, this is a juicy one too.
You got White's back. Levante David's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Vita Vea is healthy. Seems like he's finally starting to play a little bit.
Yeah, I'm still a little.
I'm not really keen on their defensive line. Obviously, I like Shaq Barrett. But this is the first time he's played a really good running quarterback. So
I still think he's going to have a good week. I think between him and JPP being back, who's also a must start, and Carl Nassib.
That's 2, JPP, and then Shaq Barrett coming through the middle. Dude, this is going to be a fun one. It really is.
There's going to be some disruption. I love Russell Wilson, and I love, the Seahawks, what they're able to do. But this is going to be an IDP-friendly game if I've ever seen one. So I'm starting all those guys, except maybe Carl Nassib. Not saying he's a bad start, but he doesn't offer the kind of big play upside.
I don't think he's going to get the playing time now that JPP's back.
Yeah, we'll see. He was playing
quite a bit.
Yeah, he's been playing defensive end in that 3-4 scheme, I guess, which puts JPP technically as an outside linebacker, but he's still, defensive end, edge rusher, whatever you want to call it. So he might still be able to work in there with him, and that only helps him. I mean, if those guys cause a forced fumble, which Shaq Barrett's caused a lot this season, I mean, Carl Nassib would easily fall on that. So
yeah, sure. All right, let's get to an interesting game. Packers-Chargers, 2 solid veteran quarterbacks. You got some interesting side on the backside. Where do you feel about the safety side on the Chargers?
Yeah, I was tagged in something on Twitter today about that. Apparently, this is his name, Teamer. Teamer's been playing pretty decent.
He balled out last week.
Yeah, I think. I mean, if you have to start somebody from there, it's him. But I'm not looking to him to be a guy that I can maybe rely on the rest of the season.
I got 2 guys that I think they're going to have, a guy to look at. Bosa, obviously.
Oh,
Teamer on the backside. Those are the 2 guys that I'm looking at on this side.
Melvin Ingram is supposed to
Russell
maybe be
asked
back
about
this week.
JPP last week. JPP's Jason Pierre-Paul Russ, if you
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah, sorry.
So-
We should have broke that down. Jason Pierre-Paul, he's dope.
Came back last week, balled out. So that's who we're talking about. Russ, I will get to Nate Gary in a second. I'm actually looking at trading for him. So back to the Chargers. Bosa's balling out. He's a guy that you're must playing. Todd Davis is playing off and on. Okay, not loving him. He played great. Thomas Davis had a great first couple games, and then just
I'm avoiding Chargers linebackers. Their snaps are just kind of weird. I'm avoiding pretty much everybody on this team except for Bosa and, like you said, Teamer, if you got to play him. On the other side of the ball, there's a little bit more to be had. Both the Smiths, Preston and Zadarius. Zadarius Smith is having an insane season.
He really is.
It's crazy that Baltimore just let him walk, and you look at what their pass rush is, it's nothing. Like, how did you do that?
I'm a little shocked. I mean, they let a lot of people – and I said that, I didn't trust Baltimore. Sure, they looked in the first game, played Miami, though. I mean, they literally let everybody walk.
Yeah, and their defense is just –
now they're riveted with injuries. Baltimore's going to get destroyed by the Patriots. I'm sorry, guys. It's just going to happen.
Whoa. Is it at Foxborough?
No, it's at Baltimore. What's it matter? The Cleveland Browns beat the Ravens at Baltimore. It doesn't matter.
Dude, We'll see.
Jefferson's out. Earl Thomas is injured. We'll get to that game in a second. So, Packers got
Zadarius Smith, Blake Martinez, Adrian Amos.
So Blake Martinez has a hand injury. He's questionable.
Yeah, he had his hand wrapped up this last week. So I
expect him to still play. I mean, let's just be honest. It's still Blake Martinez, guys. He's still a stud. Yeah, so
there's nobody else there that I'm really interested in besides
Jair Alexander. If he's targeted, which the Chargers are going to throw it to Allen.
True.
Alexander's going to guard Allen. I would expect that. So Jair Alexander could be a guy that you could target for sure. Savage has been playing really well. So
and he got dropped. He missed a week or two because of an injury. So go check your waiver wires for Darnell Savage, rookie safety. He's playing well, and
rookie safeties are all playing pretty well. So,
pretty much everybody on the Packers side worth mentioning.
Let's go next game. Browns Broncos. The Broncos are devastated with injuries. They're pretty trash. They lose by a field goal every game, but they really haven't played a tough schedule. So I'm telling you right now, the Browns, who also have a lot of injuries, Jarvis Landry got injured, Odell Beckham got injured, but they got Higgins back. They look like they're a little healthier on the offensive line. But I like the Browns defense more than I like the Broncos defense for sure.
On the Browns side, I'm starting Ogunjobi because the Broncos offensive line is not great. Obviously, you started Myles Garrett. I think you can start Olivier Vernon if you need to. I'm starting Mac Wilson in a couple of deeper leagues I'm in. Obviously, you're starting Joe Schobert. He's an absolute stud. Dude's almost unbelievable, really, that he was not a starter for a year or two while he was there. Safety-wise, though, for the Browns, it's kind of been a revolving door of Burnett, Demarius Randall, and there's another guy that's –
Well, Schobert's a must-start, right?
Oh, yeah.
Joe Schobert's a must-start every week.
Question, yeah, for sure. You might not start Mac Wilson if you have better options, but Mac Wilson's playing very well as well.
But I like the defensive line matches up more than I like anybody else this week because Joe Flacco's out.
Exactly. You have to remember there's a rookie quarter, or not a rookie, but I mean, for all, for the
purposes. He played in Arkansas. Dude's going to be Pick City, so let's go.
Exactly. So you're starting the Browns. All Browns pretty much fire them up if they're even half decent. On the Broncos side of the ball, you can start Justin Simmons and you can start Von Miller, but you're not starting them as elite options, even against a less than stellar Browns team. That's it's kind of my take on it. I know their linebacker situation is kind of rough right now. They have Johnson, Todd Davis, But again, they're just underwhelming as an entire defense for IDP. Vic Fangio just left Chicago, where they had amazing IDP options all last season, and he went to the Broncos, which are supposed to be known to be a defensive team. And I expect there to be a lot more IDP-friendly guys on this team this season than there are.
Am I missing something? Or do the Eagles have a bye?
We talked about the Eagles. They were one of the first ones we talked about.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not mean to pass on Nate Gary, guys. Nate Gary is a must start.
Yeah, I almost brought up White Snake because you did gloss over him, but we just kept rolling with it.
Yeah, playing the Bears. Yeah, sorry. Russ brought him up, and I didn't even talk about him. Nate Gary is a must start this week, guys.
All good, all good. But I think we can move past that Browns-Broncos game. I mean, like I said, you obviously want to kind of avoid any Broncos, but if you have to play them, play them. Browns fire up most of those guys. It should be a travesty on offense for the Broncos.
Patriots, Ravens. I've said the last couple of weeks when Lamar Jackson had to pass the ball, he hasn't looked phenomenal. Hasn't played. Marquise Brown is again looking like he's injured still. He's questionable again. The Patriots, it don't matter who they're playing right now. They're embarrassing their quarterback. And when they're playing a first or second year quarterback, they're making them look bad. It's going to happen again. It's probably going to be rainy anyway because it's, Baltimore that time of season. I like the Patriots defense better in that aspect.
It should be favorable, but the Patriots are kind of hard to pinpoint who to play for IDP because their personnel packages change a lot and stuff. I mean, Landon Collins has hit 100% of snaps a couple of times finally. Early in the season, he wasn't doing that, but he's been an elite IDP option. Jamie Collins.
Agreed. Jamie Collins is a must start.
Oh, yeah. And then Kyle Van Noy, he's had so many big plays. It's hard to take him out of your lineup right now.
Chase Winovich is playing really well.
He's playing like no snaps, though. It's crazy.
He is not playing any snaps, which is kind of
every time he's on the field, something happens, but he's only on the field literally, I think it's like 12, 14% of snaps. So
the Ravens, like I said, man, they're injured. I mean, Earl Thomas is injured. Jefferson's out for the season. Onwasser's questionable.
Mm-hmm.
That's my biggest problem is why I think this is going to be so one-sided is because they've got so many injuries this week.
You're right.
And that's even coming back after a bye week, and there's injured. So
yeah. I think now you're saying it like that. I think you are right. I mean, their defense is not what it was. They're playing a Patriots defense that is top tier, one of the best defenses that I've ever watched just play football.
Bar none. It's one of the best to ever take the field. So
I mean, the last 3 years, it's them this year. It was the Bears last year. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it was Jacksonville. But I mean, these defenses like that don't happen every year. I mean, we've been lucky to see them be happening. But they don't happen like this every year. So, enjoy it while it lasts, Patriots fans.
Yep. I mean, it's lasted for like 20 years. So there's
Steve, our producer, Steve. He's not with us today. Shout out, Steve. Big Patriots fan.
Huge Patriots fan. Russell just was talking about JPP about the confusion. Did he have a good matchup last week, or is he a good play this week?
He's good play for sure.
JPP, dude. I mean, he's just a baller.
In the NFL. He played almost 70% of snaps last week, his first game back from a broken neck.
When he's healthy, you play him. So play him.
Play him with confidence.
Next game, and somebody had brought this up for I said I would get to them. So you said Malik Collins here. Is he a good play this week? Giants on Monday. I don't know about that personally. Not a huge Malik Collins fan.
Yeah, I mean I'm not playing him. He's got 2 sacks on the season, 10 tackles, 5 quarterback hits isn't bad, but no.
He's going against one of the best offensive lines in football.
He's on the Cowboys. The Giants, do they have a great offensive line?
Sorry, I take that back. Well, Malik Collins is playing because what's his face got injured, right?
I don't know. All I know is on that defensive line, I'm playing Robert Quinn, and that's it. I'm not
that's what I'm talking about. Robert Quinn got injured 2 weeks ago.
He's fine. I've looked that up. He's
if
one.
Robert Quinn's healthy,
Yeah,
then I'm playing Robert Quinn. I'm not playing Malik Collins.
I would never play Malik Collins. I wouldn't play Malik Collins. I'm not even playing DeMarcus Lawrence, dude. He's having a terrible IDP season.
Terrible season.
Robert Quinn's where you want to go on this defensive line. He's played basically 70+% of snaps every week he's been back, except for like 1 or 2, which is kind of weird this last week. But I think that's because he got his rib injured.
He got injured in the first half, right after he got a sack, actually. So
Marcus Lawrence has been hot garbage this season. He might have a good game. I mean, it's against the Giants, so
I'm wondering how healthy Leighton Vander Esch is. He got a stinger 2 weeks ago, so he's been.
But he had the bye week, so I think Vander Esch and obviously Smith. I mean, if they're healthy, you play them. Leighton Vander Esch has not had an incredible season, but he's still having a good season. Kind of like these other guys that we talked about earlier that were rookies last year: Tremaine Edmonds, Roquan Smith, Leighton Vander Esch. The bar was set so high as rookies. That's probably why we feel a little bit let down by them. But in all reality, they're still very good IDP assets, but they're not.
I mean, Leighton Vander Esch is still averaging 20 points in one of my league, 20 points a game in games.
They're not even close to touching linebacker 1 like overall though, which is kind of what I thought Leighton Vander Esch might have up his sleeve. So take it as you will.
Giants side, Osei Jimenez is playing pretty good. Obviously, Peppers is the guy that I'm playing with confidence.
Yep. Peppers, but Ogletree.
Well, Alec Ogletree's injured. He's questionable for the game. So
what is up with it?
It's because he's old.
He's not that old. He's only like 28. He's younger than me.
So,
there's not really a defensive lineman on this team I want to play. I don't know about you.
I think it's just going to be just like the first week that they played. It's going to be a blowout. Why would you change anything if you're the offensive coordinator?
Yeah, they just got Leonard Williams. I mean, we got to mention that. They did just trade for Leonard Williams.
That is a good move by them.
But Leonard Williams, I haven't even wanted to play him when he was on the Jets. So
they've had bad matchups against the pass. So
I still don't want to play him. You can play him if you want to. I don't want to play him. That's just awesome.
I'm waiting another week on Leonard Williams if I have him. Just
to see what happens, see how it shakes out.
Again, guys, obviously it's kind of an impromptu live session that we're doing.
We're trying to record our show for the network, so these guys, we also
want to know how you guys feel about it. So
true. Hit us up on if you're on Spotify or YouTube or not YouTube. iTunes, give us a review. I don't know if we have any reviews or not on our show. So
you guys need to go check out our Anchor and go check out the speaker and give us some reviews. Let us know how you like the shows. Besides just this on YouTube, we want you guys to listen on, specifically the podcast. That's why we do this. So
yeah, definitely. Our Spreaker feed's good. Our Anchor feed's good. Our other show's good. This is the IDP Hour, which we do for full-time fantasy. We do another show, the IDP 411, which is, a little different flavor, but still fun. Go back and check that episode out. We dropped it on Monday afternoon. Pretty good one. We broke down a lot of stuff that happened over the week and, have a lot of candid conversations about how guys are doing, not doing. But I guess we should hop into our starts of the week before we sign off here.
That's right. So my start of the week, safety is Taven Wilson. You?
Yep. My start of the week is Marquise Blair. We talked about him a little earlier. He's played 100% of snaps week 6, 84% of snaps week 8. That was after he was a little banged up in the preseason or in camp or whatever, so he didn't hit the field, but he's been doing very good. 19 tackles the past 2 weeks, a forced fumble, a pass defended. And that's in 2 weeks. There are guys.
2 weeks.
There are guys that have played the last month that don't have those stats. So he's definitely it's a must start. I'm playing him where I have him. I know there's a little bit of Quandary Diggs and maybe McDougald's back. I'm just playing him. We'll see what happens. If it comes back to bite me in the ass, I feel like it's still the right play. So.
He's showing up on the stat sheet, and that's what the coach is going to look at. All right, the guy isn't getting burned, and he's making tackles.
Yep.
So if you check out my IDP 411 on him, I said he was the best rookie safety tackler coming out, period.
Yeah. Have you put that stuff on our YouTube channel, or is that on your other YouTube channel still?
I'm moving them all over again. We got to make some quick changes to them. So
Word. Yeah, guys, go back, listen to those. They were all really good. I listened to them over the summer. Jarod had one on Marquise Blair, so I will remember that one specifically. Go back, listen to those, hear what his thoughts were coming out as rookies, before they ever played a snap in the NFL. Jarod was putting out some content on these guys, so go give those a listen, a little backtrack, learn, educate yourself.
Defensive line, I've got Josh Allen, especially with Calais Campbell having a little back injury. Him and Yannick are both going to ball out this week. So Josh Allen is my other player of the week. Defensive line.
Yep. I'm playing my star of the week on defensive line or edge rusher or whatever you want to call him, is Robert Quinn. Dallas defensive lineman. He had 2 games suspension, but since coming back, he's massively outproduced DeMarcus Lawrence, even though he's played 2 less games than him. Like I said, he's hit over 70% of snaps, 3 of 5 games. And one, he would have probably hit it the last game 2 weeks ago, except he got injured. He's got 6 sacks on the season, I believe, even though he's only played in 5 games. Only 11 tackles, but he's getting to the quarterback so consistently. And people forget, Robert Quinn has a 19-sack season under his belt. The dude's in a 19.5 sack season. The dude's an elite pass rusher, and he has been. He went to Miami last year, so that's why everyone thinks he's garbage and dead and useless. But now he's on the Cowboys, and he's playing with DeMarcus Lawrence, who
is not playing. When got Bennett.
Yeah, I'm not scared of that. None of that scares me. DeMarcus Lawrence doesn't scare me. Bennett doesn't scare me. Robert Quinn's the dude. Again, his floor is a little bit lower because he's not a high tackle producer, but the consistency that he gets to quarterbacks is through his career, and even this year has been really, really good. And playing against Daniel Jones, that's a good start. So,
linebacker. Well, I'm gonna tell you this, Russell. You're gonna love me because Nate Geary is my linebacker start of the week. I know you have been all about this guy since I've met you. Nate Geary is the start for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's been solid last 2 weeks. He's blowing up. He's a guy that I'm looking to trade for. He's a guy that I think is going to have – he's my start of the week for my linebacker.
There you go. I'm about that. My start of the week at linebacker is Eric Kendricks, Minnesota Vikings. Dude's got 68 tackles on the season, half a sack, ho-hum, whatever. 2 quarterback hits, not that great. But the thing that stands out about him is he's got 10 pass deflections. Now, just to give you some perspective, the league-leading pass deflection guys are Logan Ryan and who's the other one? Real quick, I want to be sure to give these guys their credit. It's Logan Ryan and I can't find him. Anyway, it's Logan Ryan and somebody else. They each have 11, and they're cornerbacks. Okay, both these guys are cornerbacks. The next highest ranked guy is Eric Kendricks with 10 pass deflections. 10 at linebacker.
Let's put this into perspective.
Jair Alexander and Logan Ryan, they each have 11. The next person, Eric Kendricks, and there's not another linebacker on this list until you get down to Corey Littleton with 8, and he's like 7, 8 guys down. And then even past him, you're going even farther to find another linebacker that's doing this kind of stuff. So think about that. He's putting up almost 70 tackles and over a pass deflection a week. That's incredible IDP production. And, as just a bonus almost. He's a 70 tackle guy.
140 tackles and 20 pass deflections.
Yeah, that's insanity. That's not pace. He won't do that. But if he did, you have to start talking about him.
You can see the tackles being 130, 140. I like the matchups they got going forward.
Yeah, and if you've been watching him play, I'm gonna put an article out later this week on Dynasty Nerds. If anyone wants to check that out, it's awesome. It's kind of like I call it Diamonds and Dust. I'm writing about him this week, and it's just like as I'm digging into his numbers and what he's doing, even compared to the last 3 years he's been in the league, he's blowing everything he's ever done up. And people already considered him a pretty good linebacker, and now he's got ID for IDP. He's an absolute stud. And it's low-key flying under the radar because, we got a bad taste in our mouth from the Vikings early in the season, and he's just not a big name. He's not Darius Leonard. He's not Luke Kuechly. Nobody, when you watch these guys play on Monday night or whatever, and the announcers, they barely bring him up. If Luke Kuechly was doing this, that would literally be the only thing they would talk about. Blake Martinez was doing this, the only thing they would talk about, if Darius Leonard be the only thing they're talking about, but it's Eric Kendricks. So if you can, sneak in there and get him on your team somehow to finish out the rest of the season, you're set up. I mean, you got made in the shade. So
for sure, I completely agree with you.
If you got him, you start him every week. Again, he might not have the big name, but he's got the big numbers. So,
well, I think that's it. It's the IDP hour. I'm Jarod Gray. If you guys want to know why I'm wearing sunglasses, I did put a thing out on if I should bring the sunglasses back, and by a massive margin, it was a yes. So I'll bring the baby blues out every now and then, but I mean, I'm gonna rock them. It's game time, baby.
Shades look good. Hey, I'm 50 Shades of Drunk on Twitter. He's Shades right now on YouTube. So I like it. Shades and Shades. We got it made in the shade. If you're following us on for any IDP content, you got it made in the shade. So, we're happy to have all you guys on here. This live stream has been kind of fun. I know this episode's actually going to, go up on the podcast network, but it's been fun to have a little interaction going on while we're breaking down the matchups and talking
our quick shout out to you guys, Lunch Table Legend, Russ, Richard, all you guys, Shane, Howard, all you guys. Thanks for the interactions. I expect to see you Sunday. If you're not here Sunday, we got words.
Yep.
So we might have to go a little early on Sunday because the game's so early.
Dude, Sunday's I'm gonna have to watch that game while we're on here probably. So we'll be live Sunday. Come check us out. Again, check out Full Time Fantasy Podcast Network. They got some good stuff. Check out, if you don't, if you're listening to this and you want to know some more content that we've been doing, go check out our other podcast, the IDP 411. You can find that on Spotify. You can find that on our Twitter feeds. So again, appreciate you guys, and until next week, I guess. Good luck on your matchups.
Well, until Sunday.
Yep.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Ooh.